The World Cup. Billions watch it, but no one reads the fine print. 5 stories, 5 erasures, 1 question. File 001, The Dictator's Game. 1934, Italy hosts the World Cup. But this isn't a tournament, it's a weapon. Mussolini turned football into fascist theater. He handpicked every referee. He naturalized Argentine players by fabricating Italian ancestry. He called them rimpatriati, the repatriated. The world called them mercenaries. And then came the semifinal, Italy versus Austria. The referee, Ivan Eklund of Sweden, received a visitor the night before the match. The visitor was Mussolini himself. The message was simple. Italy wins, or you don't go home. Eklund ran the game. Italy won 1-0. After the final whistle, he was seen in Mussolini's private box, raising a glass. The Swedish Football Federation banned him for life. FIFA said nothing. They called it La Guerra del Fútbol, the football war. It sounds like a joke. It wasn't. El Salvador and Honduras were already at each other's throats. Land disputes, migration, poverty, hate. 3 qualifiers in 1 month. The first in Honduras. Honduran fans threw rocks at the Salvadoran team's hotel all night. The players didn't sleep. They lost 1-0. An 18-year-old Salvadoran girl, Amelia Bolaños, watched the match on television. After the final whistle, she took her own life. Her funeral became a national procession. The Salvadoran president walked behind her coffin. The return leg in El Salvador was a war zone. Honduran players were smuggled into the stadium in armored vehicles. El Salvador won 3-2. Within 2 weeks, both countries were at war. Real war. Bombs from the sky, tanks on the ground. 3,000 people died. 3,000. The fighting lasted 100 hours, but the hatred took decades to cool. Argentina, 1978. The host nation lifts the trophy. The streets fill with celebration. The world watches. And no one looks next door. The ESMA, a naval detention center, less than 1 mile from the stadium. Inside that building, 5,000 people were tortured and murdered. Pregnant women, teenagers, union leaders, journalists, dropped from planes into the ocean. The military called them Los Desaparecidos, the disappeared, 30,000 in total. While the stadium erupted, the mothers walked. Every Thursday, in silence, holding photographs, asking one question: where is my child? The Dutch team knew. Some players wanted to boycott. They played anyway. They lost 3-1 in extra time. Years later, survivors said 6 words that still echo. Cheers drowned out the screams. Qatar spent $220 billion on the 2022 World Cup, the most expensive tournament in human history. The stadiums were breathtaking. The spectacle was flawless. But the stadiums weren't built by architects alone. They were built by men from Nepal, India, Bangladesh, the Philippines. Men who paid recruitment fees they'd never earn back. Men whose passports were confiscated on arrival. 50 degrees Celsius, 12-hour shifts, wages stolen, water withheld. When workers collapsed, they were replaced. When they died, their families were told natural causes. The Guardian's investigation counted 6,500 dead. The Qatari government disputed the numbers. FIFA commissioned a human rights report and buried it. Messi lifted the trophy. The world cheered. The workers went home in boxes. FIFA celebrated its greatest World Cup, and that's exactly how they'll remember it, because 6,500 graves aren't visible from the stands. And then there's the trophy itself. The Jules Rimet, solid gold, priceless, and apparently magnetically attracted to criminals. 1966, 4 months before England would host and win the World Cup. The trophy was on display in Westminster. On a Sunday afternoon, a thief simply opened the back of the case and walked away with it. Scotland Yard launched the largest manhunt Britain had ever seen. The entire country held its breath. A week passed. No trophy. The World Cup was in danger of being cancelled. And then, the hero arrived. His name was Pickles. He was a dog. Pickles found the trophy wrapped in newspaper under a hedge in South London. He became a national hero, received a medal, a lifetime supply of dog food, and a movie deal. The thief was caught, released, and vanished. But the trophy wasn't done with crime. In 1983, Brazil, who had won it permanently after their third World Cup, kept it in a cabinet with a wooden back. Thieves unscrewed the back panel and walked away. No alarms, no guards. The Jules Rimet trophy, 3.8 kilograms of solid gold, gone forever. The thieves melted it down, sold the gold. Estimated street price, 3,000 British pounds. Priceless history reduced to scrap metal. To this day, the original Jules Rimet trophy has never been found. 5 files, 5 stories FIFA counted on you forgetting. A dictator's game, a war named after football. 30,000 disappeared, 6,500 graves, and a trophy that simply refused to be held. They counted on silence. But silence has an expiration date. History doesn't repeat. It gets buried. If this file made you feel heavier, subscribe to Curiosity Archives, because the next file is already open.